When you think of epic battles, you think of Thermopylae, Hastings, Waterloo. But what about the battles that were just as crucial, the ones that saved whole civilizations or brought empires to their knees, but that almost nobody learns about? Today we bring you those forgotten clashes. History is written by the victors, but sometimes those victors made sure to bury the truth. Here are the battles your textbook never taught you, because they threatened the status quo, battles that changed the course of nations and then were erased. Are you ready to see what history missed? First up, the Battle of the Ulai River, around 653 BC. The kingdom of Elam faced off against the rising power of Babylon. Elam struck first with a surprise attack, completely routing the Babylonian forces. It was a catastrophic blow to Babylon's prestige. For a brief, shining moment, Elam held the upper hand, saved from subjugation, until Babylon recovered. But here's the twist. In Babylonian and later Assyrian records, this battle is barely mentioned, often just an embarrassing footnote. If it had been remembered as it should have been, our entire understanding of power struggles in ancient Mesopotamia could have been different. Next, let's jump to the Battle of Kalkal in the mid-18th century. Various tribal confederacies in Persia rose up in a rebellion that posed a serious threat to the Shah. Using the rugged mountainous terrain, they launched guerrilla attacks, surprise raids, and waged logistical warfare. They successfully pushed back the royal army, and for months it looked like they might actually dismantle the central government. But then, internal divisions and a betrayal allowed the Shah's forces to reorganize and crush the rebellion. Later, Persian historians downplayed its significance, calling it a minor uprising. But in reality, it nearly toppled an entire dynasty. We all hear about the Battle of Hattin in 1187, how Saladin defeated the Crusaders. But what you don't usually learn is how truly decisive it was in reshaping the entire political order of the Levant. This wasn't just about territory. It shifted alliances, trade routes, and religious power dynamics. The battle didn't just liberate Jerusalem, it triggered a chain reaction. Christian principalities collapsed, rival Muslim powers realigned, and the entire regional balance was thrown into a new configuration. Yet many textbooks present it merely as a chapter in the Crusades saga, not as a world-altering turning point. Here's something crazy. One of Saladin's own generals nearly betrayed him the night before the battle. If that betrayal had succeeded, the victory would have vanished, and all of history might read very, very differently. Now for the Battle of Talas in 751 AD. You might have heard of this one, but probably just in passing. This is when the Abbasid Caliphate and the Tang dynasty clashed along the Talas River in Central Asia. The Tang armies, along with their Turkic allies, faced off against the Abbasids and their local recruits. The battle ended in an Abbasid victory. So why does that matter so much? Because after the battle, Chinese prisoners of war and defectors introduced papermaking technology to the Islamic world. Within just a few decades, paper mills spread from Samarkand across the Middle East and eventually into Europe. That one battle helped trigger a global transformation in knowledge, science, and culture. But what's rarely mentioned is that the Tang general buried the news of his defeat in official Chinese records. Some say it was to avoid scandal. Others claim political infighting made the story inconvenient. As a result, many Chinese histories play it down, robbing it of the magnitude that modern scholars believe it truly deserves. On to India and the Battle of Kalinga, fought by Emperor Ashoka of the Mauryan Empire around 261 BC. This battle was unbelievably vicious. Tens of thousands died, including countless civilians. Ashoka won, but the sheer cost of his victory haunted him. It triggered a profound moral crisis that led him to embrace non-violence and promote Buddhist philosophy, a move that would shape concepts of peace in Asia for centuries to come. But here's the part of the story that's often left out. Ashoka's own administration actively suppressed the full details of the Kalinga massacre. He ordered that the most gruesome details be omitted from official edicts, minimizing the scale of the suffering. So, while people know about his celebrated conversion to peace, many don't grasp the true horror that pushed him there. Finally, we have the Battle of Carchemish in 605 BC. The Babylonians and their allies, the Medes, clashed with the remnants of the once mighty Assyrian Empire and their Egyptian allies. This was the battle that sealed Assyria's fate, wiping it off the map for good. It's sometimes mentioned, but never with the weight it deserves. The end of Assyria's reign meant the rise of Babylon as the undisputed superpower of Mesopotamia. Entire cultures shifted, political capitals moved, and the very languages of power and diplomacy changed forever. And for the final twist, many Assyrian nobles actually survived and fled, but their stories, their perspective on this catastrophe, you hardly ever come across them. The victors didn't just win the battle, they rewrote the narrative so thoroughly that the Assyrian collapse seemed inevitable, even though, until that very moment, their fate was hanging by a thread. So many battles changed the world, not just regions, but global culture, empires, religion, and technology. Yet they're hidden from our history books. Why? Because what's recorded and what isn't is always a choice. Which of these battles surprised you the most? Drop a comment below. If you want to dive into more forgotten wars, hidden turning points, or moments that shaped us but got buried, let me know. If this video blew your mind, please give it a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the untold side of history. Thanks for watching.